Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile update for you guys today. This time it's on Salamangreats. So as y'all know, Salamangreat is actually pretty good this format. It's very flexible against like the top decks and even the rogue strategies too. So now Salad can also run a lot of hand trips, which is actually a pretty cool thing and still be as consistent as it is. And with cards like Parallel Exceed, this deck actually has a real win condition now. So and I'll get to that momentarily. So let's go and get started. So same as before, my deck is 40 cards, but the Salad engine is just a bit smaller than last time. So starting off with 2 copies of Foxy. This card is just a good way to get rid of spells and traps, but also to kind of like dig into your deck for more Salad cards if you want to use the Pot of Duality effect. But keep in mind, it's not always guaranteed. So most of the time I just use it for the graveyard effect. So yeah. 2 Jack Jaguar. This is one of your main sources of recursion. He basically shuffles back any fire monster to your deck or extra deck, and you can special summon him back. Well, not any fire monster, I'm sorry, any Salamangreat monster, so yeah. 2 Spinny. I'm still considering whether to run just one and then make room for a Foul again, just because, you know, I cut Foul from this deck, but Spinny's not a bad extender. I mean, he's just there to help you link climb, and that's it. Plus, if he's in your hand already, and you search out your Gazelle, and you can get him into the grave, you can actually trigger off your Gazelle's effect. Which comes to our next card, 1 Gazelle. And last of our Salamangreat monsters, 1 Falco. Falco is just a good way to get rid, or to not get rid of, but to recur one of your spells and traps. So that's the only reason why I'm running it. So, and plus he's a level 4 too, so good way to get into some free rank 4s. So, but yeah. Again, let me know in the comments what you guys think, whether I should run Foul, like maybe cut the Spinny to 1. I still haven't decided entirely. So, so far this is working for me just fine, but again, I'm always open for suggestions. Next, 3 Lady Debug. This is your primary opener and one of your main combo starters. So you basically search out Gazelle or whatever else you need, link off into Balinks, and then you just go from there. So yeah, Lady Debug definitely comes in clutch whenever she needs to. Next, 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. Wish it was searchable through Lady Debug, but it's not. But if he's already in your hand and you link summon, you can special summon this card to a link zone that a link monster points to, and then you can special summon one other copy of Parallel Exceed. Both, by the way, will become level 4, so instant rank 4 right there to get into Bitch Dweller, Bagusco, or even Trap Checks Rafflesia. But you don't even have to just go into rank 4. You can actually just use them to link climb even further if you want to OTK your opponent, so that helps too. Alright, now we're moving on to hand traps. 3 copies of Ash. This is pretty obvious. It's recurable too, so that's really nice. 3 Effect Veilers, since, you know, in this form you definitely want to disrupt your opponent as soon as possible. 3 Nibiru, really good too. It's kind of good against Adamantipator, considering that, you know, the token is rock, and your opponent basically makes use of rock monsters. So yeah, like Nibiru, really good, but against some Adamantipator, it's kind of like 50-50. So you just gotta hope they don't have a follow-up play. And last but not least, 3 copies of Impermanence. Now, if you don't have Impermanence, you could run DD Crow. You can also run Phantasme. Phantasme is pretty cheap this right now, so Phantasme is actually a really good option this format too. So just kind of like giving you guys some other budget options. All right, now moving on to spells. 3 copies of Pot of Desires, just for consistency and also the fact that it gives you a free draw too. Well, of course you have to banish the top 10 cards of your deck, but with the right cards in your hand, you should be able to get like everything you need and all your resources in the grave. So Pot of Desires really doesn't conflict with this deck whatsoever. 3 Silent Mining. I'm only running 2 copies of Will since, you know, the Salad engine is much smaller. 3 Will is kind of a brick, so 2 should be more than enough. 1 Circle to either search or protect your link monsters from monster effects. So yeah, Salamangreat Circle is got a built-in protection effect, so never forget that part. And of course, the 1 Sanctuary. And that's it for spells. For traps, not including the Impermanence, of course, I'm running 1 of each of the Salamangreat traps, Rage and Roar, simply because I was running 2 of each originally, but the reason I decided to cut it down to 1 each is because Gazelle, you generally want to dunk these with Gazelle anyway, and every now and then you might be lucky enough to open up with 1, and if you can happen to get access to both anyway, there's no reason to run 2. Plus they're both hard ones per turn, unfortunately. But the cool thing is that they're both recurable. You don't even have to use Roar's effect where you extra link one of your monsters for the same name. You could just simply bring it back with Sunlight Wolf's effect and just go from there. Next, 1 Gravedigger's Trap Hole. So this goes with my Trap Checks Rafflesia. It's basically to counter Nibiru. So yeah, like the Anti-Nibiru card, and it's really nice. And then just to keep Traptrix Rafflesia even more useful, I decided to run one copy of Floodgate Trap Hole, which also comes in clutch whenever you need it to. The cool thing about this card though is like the monster can't come back up, so like you flip it face down, it stays flipped face down. So card against decks like that use basically like synchros right now, like the tuner monsters, you definitely want to aim for the tuner monsters. That way they can't make use of them whatsoever, and they're gonna have a hard time getting rid of them. So yeah, Floodgate Trap Hole comes in clutch when you really need it. All right, so that's it for the main deck. Now we're moving on to the extra deck. Extra deck is pretty standard. Still running the 3 Bailings, you know, 3 Sunlight Wolf. Everyone knows that this is one of your main cards. This brings back all your spells and traps and also your fire monsters. 2 Heat Leo helps enable the OTK. Still running Nightmare Phoenix. It was either this or Hita. I kind of like this card a little bit better because, you know, with Nightmare Phoenix, at least you could pop any spell and trap and draw one of its co-links. So yeah. 1 Update Jammer, 1 Transcode Talker, and of course 1 Axis Code Talker. If you don't have access to Axis Code Talker, Topologic Zero Boris is also a good option. I've actually tried that card out for myself. They're both very good. The reason why Axis Code Talker is just significantly better is because you could banish as many link monsters from your grave, or yeah, banish 1 link monster of a different attribute each time just to pop a card. Of course, you won't be able to pop any or banish any more cards of the same attribute afterwards, but that's fine because like Update Jammer's Wind, Transcode is Earth. Let's say you banish Nightmare Phoenix, that's Fire. So that means like you could do up to 3 pops in 1 turn. So that's pretty neat, honestly. And plus, with Update Jammer, you can attack twice, and he gains power for whatever monster you target when he's summoned. And none of his effects are respondable, so that's actually pretty nice too. So yeah, Axis Code Talker is pretty broken. So that's it for the link monsters. For the rank 4s, 1 Abyss Dweller, still really good. Baguska is really good this format too. Really puts a lot of combo heavy decks in check, so definitely want to run the Baguska. And last but not least, 1 Traptrix Rafflesia. So I already said why I'm running this, because, you know, with the Trap Hole cards, she can definitely like help you defend against like certain hand traps like the Nibiru. If you want to stop your opponent from comboing off too heavily to try to break your board, yeah, Rafflesia can also help with that too. So that's actually just like an amazing card overall. So gotta have a lot of respect for Rafflesia. So yeah, that's it for the extra deck. Now moving on to the side deck. All right, side deck is pretty self-explanatory. 3 Phantasme. I was tempted to run this in the main deck, but I decided to go with Veiler instead. 3 DD Crow is still really good. I'm running 2 Ghost Mortar just as another form of effect Veiler and permanence. Plus it also burns damage too, so yeah. Next, 3 Cosmic Cyclone for back row heavy strategies. 3 Gozen matches, actually really strong against Adamancipator. So in case if I end up getting forced to go second and I see that I'm dealing with the Adamancipator deck, this is definitely the go-to card to try out. And last but not least, Imperial Order. This is mainly for Skystalkers, since Skystalkers is actually relevant right now. So yeah, Imperial Order can really help you out. All right, that's it for all my Salamangreat deck. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.